Hi, my name is Aaron Peterson. I'm one of the innovative education facilitators here at DDSB. Today's bite-sized PD is going to take a look at using DocAppender along with Google Forms to create observations and walkthroughs where we can share feedback back to the user. So what I'm talking about is this is really targeted at administrators, but teachers could see a way to use this with their students. DocAppender is an add-on for Google Forms that lets us share some of the information that we collect to documents, and then those documents can be shared with certain users. The use case we're going to look at today is a classroom walkthrough visit. So an administrator kind of is walking around their building, they're seeing what's going on, and they want to give some feedback to that teacher, but scheduling that meeting is really difficult. Trying to find that time where you can both get together and sit down and have a thorough conversation is tough, but you want that teacher to hear your feedback. You want that teacher to hear what's going well in their classroom. So you can collect that data in a form for yourself, and then you could have some of that data shared automatically to a document that teacher receives and has access to at any time. Without further ado, we're going to take a look at this. So here we are. We're going to start in Google Drive because we need to set up some files that DocAppender and Google Forms are going to use. Now, if you're not sure about how to set up the form itself for collecting information, we have another bite-sized PD that we've recorded that's available on the bite-sized PD playlist called Anecdotal Notes and Observations. And that'll kind of walk you through how to set up a form or how to create those question types. Today, we're going to use one that we've already got made, and we're going to really focus on how we use DocAppender to connect with that. So what I've done here is I need to have a folder of documents that I'm going to share to. So to illustrate what I mean by that is I've made a set of documents here with that are named with my teachers' names on them. You can see they're all the same. If I open one up, you can see it's just a blank Google Doc with observations and our logo at the top. So this is kind of the template that I'm going to use with my teacher names here on the side. In addition to that, what I need to do is create a form that I'm going to use to fill in. So in this case, I've got this classroom walkthrough and observations form. It looks like this. What I've created is I've created one section for target document that's going to be automated or created automatically by DocAppender. I'll show you that in just a second. We've got our divisions. So I've written my elementary divisions in this example here, and I could check multiples. So I've chosen check boxes so that you could choose if they're doing a split class, maybe they're doing a cross division there. And then I've got some things that I'm looking for. These could be whatever you want to look for. In my instance, I've got what kind of learning is happening, what kind of instruction is happening, or learning activity is happening. Down here, I've got resources that are being used. Again, you could customize this to be whatever focus you're looking for in your school, align it to your school improvement plan, and your look fors in that case. Down here, I've got some other things. I've got evidence of learning goals. Our success criteria. If maybe this is what you're focusing on, and that's what you want to put in there. I'm actually going to just call this evidence instead, and I'm going to make this a file upload question, which will give me a place where I can upload photos or videos. I'm going to increase this size, and I'm going to increase the size here. Again, these are covered in my other video about anecdotal notes and observations if you want to check that out. So this gives me a chance to take some pictures, take some videos, and record some evidence of this happening in the classroom. Next, I've got next steps and feedback. This is where I'm going to actually give my feedback for the teacher, what I want them to hear. And then I've got other comments. This is going to be private comments for myself or maybe my administrator team that I share this with. So once I've got all that set up and kind of started, I need to connect this with DocAppender. So DocAppender is an add-on. If you've never used add-ons before in G Suite, you can find them under this 3-dot menu in your upper right and go to add-ons. If you just Google DocAppender, you might end up in the G Suite Marketplace. We do not have this app whitelisted in the G Suite Marketplace. You need to install it through the add-ons in a form. So go into form, click on the 3 dots, go to add-ons. It's going to bring up this little add-ons window. Looks similar to like the Chrome Web Store. And I'm going to search for DocAppender. It's all one word. And I'm going to find it's got this gray icon. It's from New Visions Cloud Lab. And I will click add or install. It's already added for me, so all I can do is remove, but for you, you would have add to forms and it would show up there. Once you've added this add-on, you'll see a little puzzle piece at the top. This is where you use your add-ons to manage. So if I click on this, I'll see all the add-ons I have available. I also use sometimes Choice Eliminator for eliminating choices after a certain number of people have chosen it. I can use things like Form Ranger or Form Recycler to bring questions and options from spreadsheets into my forms and make my life a little easier. If we go to DocAppender and I click on this, it's going to load this up and let me go to Open Sidebar. Open Sidebar brings me in to this little window on the right-hand side. Once DocAppender loads up on the side, it's going to walk through this. Now, I've already chosen my folder. So when you get to here, it's going to ask you, where are your documents? Now, previously, I showed you, we made this folder called Observation Documents here. And inside, I have those documents, one for each of my teachers. So I pointed it to that. If I want to choose a different folder, I could point it to a different folder, and it's going to bring in the documents that I have there. Now you'll see my list are the names of those documents. So Alana Sutton, Jason Reed, Jeremiah Farley. If I go back to those documents, there's the names of the documents. So I name them my staff members so that their names will show up in that list of docs. Okay. So then I'm just going to click through the menus next. Again, this is populated for me automatically. If I add new documents, it's actually going to change that over here. And it's going to refresh hourly and on each form submit. So if I were to go over here and just right click and make a copy after I've made my template, and then I would rename this copied document. Once it creates, there's copy of Ruben Rivers. I'm going to rename that to another staff member. This is how I would set them all up to start. Get that. And now I've got my next staff member's document. If I go back here and say refresh the list, I'm actually going to get a new doc over here. Okay. Save and populate select questions. That's what I want to do. And then you'll see John Edwards now as an option. So as I get new staff members, as I get new people, I just have to add the document and then come back in and save and populate, and it'll give me that choice where it's going. I'm going to go next, and it's going to ask me, what do we want to put on those documents? So I have all of these things recorded in my form. It's pulling them from the questions I have here in my form. So I have a timestamp is automatically submitted. That's great for saying when the observation was made. I have the target document where it's going, the division, what kind of learning, resources, evidence, next steps. So maybe for this student or for this teacher, I want to tell them what grade I saw them teaching. I saw what kind of learning I thought was happening, and I just want to give them their next steps and feedback. And the other ones are going to be kept for me. So anything I check is going to be shared with that person on that document. The format, you can choose a bulleted list, a vertical table, or a row. These are just going to be dependent on how you want it outputted. What do you want it to look like when they see it? My favorite is the vertical tables, but bulleted lists or the others might work depending on what information you're putting in there. I'll show you what this one looks like in a second. And then I'm going to save my changes. So once that's saved, I can just close out DocAppender, and that information is there. Now, to show you how the form is going to work, I'm going to preview it. You would have this bookmarked for yourself. Maybe you've got it on your phone or your tablet as you walk around your building, and you're going to make your notes. So to get started, I'm going to choose the teacher that I've got. Alana, I have her document already open. I'm going to go to Alana. I'm going to say she was teaching primary this day. She was engaged in guided groups. She was using technology and manipulatives. And if I wanted to, I could take a picture on my phone or my tablet. I'm going to give her some feedback. Alana, this lesson was a great example of guided groups. And your feedback could be as long or as brief as possible. I'm going to make it very short here for the sake of this video. If you're using it on a phone, you can always click your dictate button, the little microphone on your keyboard, and then you could just step out in the hallway and give a lot of feedback. That's really meaningful, and it wouldn't take you any time at all. Finally, other comments. Alana may be a great mentor for John regarding guided groups. These could be notes for you that you're going to refer to later. And then I'm going to submit. And when I submit, I'm going to show you Alana's document here that I have up. And in a matter of seconds, just takes a few seconds, that form is going to run, and there we see my information. So like magic, DocAppender fills this form in, or fills this document and appends it with the information that I put in the form. So Alana is going to get my feedback here. She's going to see the next steps the timestamp when I put this in and what I observed here and here. If I unchecked any of those boxes for what I wanted to give to the document, then less is going to show up. And I'm ready to submit another response. So again, if I go through this one more time, Alana, choose 2 divisions. They were doing this. Give there some feedback. And then I'm going to submit. And I go back to Alana's document and watch in a matter of seconds. Again, it's going to run the script in the background and append to this document with this new information. There it is. So again, kindergarten primary tells all the information I put in there. So really quick feedback. If a teacher knows that you were through to their class, they might be able to check their document and see. Now, each document right now is only owned by me. So the next step is, how do we communicate this to the teacher? How do we make this available? So for instance, with John's, I could right click and share and send this to John Edwards. So there he is. I find their name, and I could give him maybe viewing rights if I don't want him to be able to add in. Maybe I want to start a conversation, so I give them commenting rights so they could ask questions or reply to things in the sidebar. Or if you want them to contribute to the doc, you could make it an editable document. For recording and for observations, you might well just make them commenters and then send that notification so they receive that and know where that is. Okay. Now they have access to it right away. So you go through a class, or you go through and make an observation, you put it here. Some other opportunities for using DocAppender might be behavioral notes, where you're going to share notes with a teacher about certain students, and you observe, or in the office, you get a referral, you do some action with them. What are the next steps? You kind of complete this really quickly, and then the student or the teacher, classroom teacher, may be kept in the loop by sharing the document about those students for that homeroom. With that, there's lots of applications for this, for how you could use this to share information in a really seamless way in your building and give everybody access to the responses they need. If you need to take a look at the responses later, you can go to responses and see all the information here summarized, or you can even output it to a Google Sheet, which will show you all the information that's here, including all those columns you didn't send in DocAppender. So things like other comments that were going to be private for you, you could have them here so that you can see them, but your teachers or your other people on the document don't. So those could be notes for you for later to review at a different time. So that's DocAppender and how you can use it in your school and in your classroom. Hopefully this improves some workflow, gives you some options for how you can communicate, how you can give that feedback within your building a little bit easier and a little bit more efficiently. If you need help with any of this or you get stuck, feel free to reach out to the Innovative Education team and we'll be happy to assist you in getting this rolling. Again, if you need more information on building a form for observations and managing that data, you can check out the other bite-sized PD on anecdotal notes and observations in the bite-sized PD playlist, and look to weekly bite-sized PDs coming out from us where we're going to address short little topics for you in a manageable amount of time to hopefully help you leverage digital and make you more effective in your building. All right, thanks for joining us. Have a great day.